Hello, hello, most beautiful stars. Hello. We got Lori in the house. Oh my goodness. Good to see you, my dear. Good to Lori, I need your new address. I was going through my address book today for some stuff and I realized Lori moved. So I hope everything is going well in your new location. All right, folks. I'm Courtney, host of Stars and Morning Light, and it's been quite a while. um This is Hangout with Courtney. Ask me anything. I usually have some kind of edible in my mouth while doing shows like this. Right now, I'm sucking on a beautiful hard candy that is nice and smooth. And you can ask me anything, literally, whatever. Uh, whatever. If you do want to ask me something, please put it in the chat in bold letters so I can read it. Yeah, guys, I have not been here. I have not been around. March. How many of us are grateful that March is done? March 2026. I am so happy that it's April. We are live right now on April 2nd, 2026. I am kind of fiddling around with our cards because we haven't used those in a while. And oh, Lori said send messages. Are you going to send a message, Lori? You can try to use my phone if you want. Um, so, April 2nd, 2026, this past March, beloveds, that we just stepped out of did really kick my butt. It kicked my butt. And I knew it was going to. And then it just kind of kept kicking a bit more, kicking a little bit more, kicking a little bit more. And it's all good. I'm happy we're in April and I've been playing catch up this past week. So in April, my schedule is vastly smoother and of my own. So you will be seeing me more often. I did have a good March. Unfortunately, when I was in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, I'm just going to share with y'all as people come in and hopefully ask questions. Lori just asked, how's the weather down here? Right now it's real humid. We need the rain to actually present itself. Um, Still up and down, but currently pretty humid and hot. We do talk about the weather here at Stars of the Morning Light because we're interested in the flip of the poles and what it's doing to our systems and what it's doing to our weather. So when I did go to Hopkinsville, Kentucky, but we did not get to spend enough quality time there. I mean, we were in and out fast because right before we were traveling to, my mother and I were traveling to Branson, Missouri, which I ain't never been out to Branson, Missouri. It is like a huge theme park in the Midwest. Huge. Um, that was interesting. Right before we left, my dog got injured. And so there was like an emergency vet appointment. So then we still had to go to Hopkinsville, Kentucky. So we were in and out, all sorts of things. I am still nursing the dog. So prayers for little Samson. He's doing better. It was weird. It was hard that I had to leave. I mean, Brad did a good job taking care of him, but it's still kind of difficult. So, as people fill in, I don't know if anybody is actually getting notified anymore, to tell you the truth, because I've been so absent. Which that's fine. My numbers here on YouTube are so low. If you guys knew how this process worked, you would you go, no way, I would never do that. Yeah, Sammy, he hurt his paw and it's been awkward because like he's laying behind me right now. And the vet gave him a cone. Okay, that's not going to happen. So now I'm wrapping his paw every day and night and letting it get some air and some light through the afternoon hours. He's healing. He's fine. He'll be okay. But could you imagine that happening to your dog and then you still have to leave town and travel a bunch. Yeah, so it was a bit much. On top of March had already kicked my butt. Oh, beloveds. It's, we everything's connected. Everything's connected. There is no separation. But we experience life within our own little bubble. And everybody's little bubble is attached to everybody else's other little bubbles. And when bubbles start moving and changing things and, you know, changing schedules, changing whatever they do, it does affect others. And we know this. We live it. That's how we actually experience in a lot of ways. If we were just our own particular bubble, not bouncing into anybody else's bubble, there wouldn't be much experience had. So it is interesting though to watch all the little bubbles, especially in the times that we're living and especially where we're headed. I was talking to the patrons about that on Sunday. Patrons, I still do owe you an email, and it will be coming out tomorrow. It's interesting to watch all the bubbles, including myself, witness myself, and how everything, when things start shifting, some bubbles will expand, some bubbles will completely burst, some bubbles will deflate, some bubbles will start to race, some bubbles will start to push everything. It is fascinating to watch, all the while kind of forgetting, at least that's what it seems like witnessing wise, kind of forgetting that we're connected to all the other bubbles. It is fascinating to watch. So, Lori's the only one coming in. If you are here and you have a question other than I answered about the weather, so thank you, Lori. I don't really have. Ooh, a card just flew out. And beloveds, this is a new deck. The last time I saw, two cards flew out. The last time I saw Mary Jo, Mary Jo Tarvin, a wonderful psychic who has been on different programs here that Stars the Morning Light, a dear friend of mine. The last time I saw her, she gave me some decks, and I have not even had an opportunity to look at them yet. But I grabbed one amongst some of our other ones. This is the Healing Spirits Oracle deck. And two cards just jumped out. So let's see what they say. This is my first time even opening the deck, is what I'm telling y'all. Never even, I don't know nothing about these cards. So this one, wow, it's beautiful. Let me hold it up. It's beautiful. Oh my God, I was just talking about bubbles. And look at that bubble with like static electricity happening. Oh my goodness, that is what we look like to me. That is so what we're like. It's awesome, us little stars. It says, success isn't what you have, it's what you do with what you have. Oh, beloveds. Success isn't what you have, it's what you do with what you have. Oh, in reflection to what we were just talking about, all the little bubbles and bouncing into one another. Oh, see, let me turn down the light. Oh, look at that. That's real. Oh, wow. That's real pretty. See, so if you see yourself, okay, we're talking about bubbles right now, right? I've talked a lot with definitely my students and on other shows here, um, how to maybe identify how powerful and mighty and connected everything is, and how many maybe systems of operation there could be by meditating on how many cells you have in your body and how those cells operate with one another. and how they communicate and how they bounce around and move and get things done. That is so much how our social system works as our individual lives bumping into other lives, how we learn, how we grow, how we heal, how we change. That's also how, in many ways, the universe works and all the parallel worlds and all the whatnot. So if you see yourself as like this guy, a beautiful nucleus, a single cell within a whole system, see how much you can do? Oh my goodness, we can get so much done. Success isn't what you have, it's what you do with what you have. I agree. How many people agree with that? Do you agree with that? Let me know in the comments below if you're catching this later. Do you agree with that? That it's not what you have, it's what you do with what you have. And folks, the times that we're moving into, I really would love and appreciate more people to bring that into themselves and understand that we manifest. We have power to instantaneously manifest. So, this is from, once again, the Healing Spirits Oracle deck. Interesting. Another card popped out though, too. Let's see what happens when I hold this one up. Ooh, this one might need more light. Oh, that's wild. I've never even seen this deck. I've never even flipped through it, guys. And below it says, ask your spirit guide. Ask your spirit guide. Oh, so these are the two cards that popped up. Okay, so we're tomorrow. I'm getting it back to that spirit guide card. And I'm just flowing, talking, doing what have you. Tomorrow is quote unquote Good Friday. Quote unquote Good Friday. Which I understand why it's called Good Friday, but uh wasn't so good for the individual, now was it? Uh and I'm bringing this up for a reason. I'm bringing this up for a reason. I often say here and with students who are really starting to learn a lot of this, while they're fixing to, they're practicing in very small ways. So kudos to them. But think about the Christ consciousness that is of seventh dimensional consciousness in a body of form, walking around in the third dimensional living experience. Did you get that? Seventh dimensional consciousness, the Christ consciousness, walking around in a body of form throughout the third dimensional living experience. Well, often, all the miracles of feed 5,000 people with 2 fish, heal, do all sorts of things, which by the way, folks, um, he didn't heal as much as his disciples did. It was actually the disciples' jobs to when they went into a new um tribe, village, what have you, area, he was just the presence. And occasionally, if he needed to speak, he spoke. It was actually the disciples that went and healed people. You can find that in other scriptures, especially in the Nagamai scriptures. So, but when it came to like the big miracles, right? The feeding 5,000 people with 2 fish, the raising the dead, which the stories around that are, you got different variations, by the way. And it's not like it was the first time. But oftentimes, what's really going on is because he's a seventh dimensional being in a body of form here, living amongst third dimensional people, he's understanding that all it really takes is this. That all it really takes is this. If you can understand the actual, let's say, physics and because let's say physics and power within like a mustard seed. right? Something very small. And then bring it even smaller down to a very cellular level, and even smaller down to like the nucleus level. If you can understand that and then believe you can do what needs to be done with that, that's the trick. That's the trick right there, is to believe that you can do what needs to be done at that nucleus level. Well, then of course you can feed 5,000 people with 2 fish. And beloveds, this is that nucleus level is a representation of your whole self and down to your little finite nucleus self, right? As above, so below, as below, so above, as within, so around. The Hermetic principles are for third and fifth, so third and fifth dimensional living experiences. So learn them. They are great tools. They are actually your way in and your way out of third and five into obtaining the seventh dimensional consciousness. In many ways, there's other stuff. I'm just referencing that because tomorrow is, you know, it, I don't like calling it Good Friday, by the way. I never did. I understand why people do call it Good Friday, but if anyone actually really reads and knows what happened there, not so good, not so good. Um, even though he knew it, even though he knew it, and beloveds, I also I want to say as well, he knew it, um, and was anxious about it, sweated blood, even. I mean, could you imagine the anxiety of knowing what you're about to go through? But I also know that he didn't necessarily do it for those people, because when you read all of it, it's interesting because that's a question there. Why would you do this for people that you know would then manipulate things and change things and create hierarchy and rules and dogmas and difficult paradigms and whatnot in your name? Why would you even? I know that he wasn't necessarily thinking about then of the now. He was 2,000 years later with us here as we're going, oh, well, that's just a consciousness level. Oh, he really did mean we could do more than he, because we would be many compared to one. Oh, he knew where we would be right now. So, got to give him the biggest props of all to go through it knowing that the resolution, in a way, the uh, completion, the full acceptance of of what was really going on there, even yet has still not fully been achieved. I give that man props. Oh, so this card says, ask your spirit guide. Ask your spirit guide. Interesting deck. Very interesting artwork. Very interesting artwork. So ask your spirit guide, and success isn't what you have, it's what you do with what you have. Yeah, I agree. I agree. How many of you actually talk to any guides? To any guides? I think more people are starting to. Nature is really some of the best. I mean, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with being out in nature. I think, to tell you the truth, that's the hardest part of this past week, is the weather did start getting better, and normally I can't say the W word because the dog's here. The WALK. Normally we'd be doing very beautiful, great ones. But because he's injured, we have been kind of staying inside, laying low. And that's, I think, been taking a toll on both of us. So let's pull a card from our sacred geometry deck. Oh my goodness, beloveds, no one's here. I'm surprised. So that's telling me, and Lori's here. Thank you, my dear. That is actually telling me that no one's getting notifications anymore. That no one is getting notifications because of my absence. My absence. Well, that's fine. It's how it rolls. Lori said she talks to him sometimes. Good. Good. Excellent. All right. So we're going to grab a card from our sacred geometry deck to see what do we need, let's say this weekend. So April, well, no, let's just timestamp it for if you ever catch this, whenever you catch it. Good job. Hi, I'm Courtney. Let's just timestamp it that way. That for whenever this is needed for whomever has eyes to see and ears to hear. So let's grab a sacred geometry card. Let me. Oh, it's been a while. It's been a while, you guys. Yeah, my cards are, well, they're informing me it's been too long. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Oh. Well, this is beautiful. This is communication, number 14 of the sacred geometry of communication. Oh, I don't want that. There we go. There we go. The sacred geometry of communication. Look at all the beautiful bubbles. I'm going to read this, folks. So let me turn up my light. Turn it up so I can read it. Oh, it's so beautiful. And I know you can't really make it out with this camera, but there is a pyramid, the Star of David in there, like right in the center of things. I'm even behind in my own curriculum with my teacher, and we're covering the 8-pointed stars right now. And I am so behind, but that's okay because I'll catch up and it'll be waiting for me, just like how this message is. This says, the frequency of communication supports our ability to exchange information in many different forms. It reminds us to run every piece of information, both incoming and outgoing, through our heart, the center of our truth, to stay in the flow of source and balanced exchange. You know, lately, well, I want to put it out there first. I don't know if you guys know this, but pretty much everything in this world, especially 3, 5, all of it, actually, universe, however you want to put it, everything is communication. Everything is communication. Magic, manifesting, um, healing, growth, learning, all of it. All of it is communication. All of it is communication. Like I just said, how your cells communicate with one another to do what is needed in the body. Communication. How the different neurons in your brain and, everything, your synapses are firing off to communicate things. Communication. How we learn, grow, change, heal as individuals and a society. Communication. Whenever you're going to try to manifest, even though you're manifesting all the time, because your words are vastly more powerful than your intentions. Communication. So manifesting, magic, everything. I can't think of. I was actually, when I was doing the dishes, I think yesterday, I wanted to bring this up. So thank you, Deck. Um, I don't know how to stress enough that absolutely everything runs on communication from with self to self communication, self to others, self to others, and self to the divine, which could be nature, could be whatever, the divine within you. It could be however you want to view it. Could be that tomorrow is definitely Good Friday. It could be what have you. But communication, everything runs on it. Everything is built on it, changes by it, is created by it. I mean, that's why we're in the midst of it. That's why everything starts with first was the word, or first there was thought. You ever think about that? Everybody talks about like with the Gnostics, and I love Gnostic. Don't get me wrong, but people want to jumble who was created first. The very first, before Barbello, before Sophia, before any of it, was forethought. It was thought, hence a way of communicating. It's thoughts that we're communicating. It's never not thought. So we're communicating it from self to self to others, self to the divine. So everything is communication. Everything. Everybody talks about how it's energy and energy and energy. Very true. You ever think about the energy of communication? Wow. Right? Communication actually holds every single one of these sacred geometries. So, I'm glad that came up. I really did. Because like I said, I was thinking about it, that I don't know how to stress that more. If we are in co creation with one another, if we're trying to create ourselves, right? It takes communication and sincere communication. Sincere communication. Oh, and that brought me into my other point. I've been talking a lot lately with folks about being their authentic self. And which is beautiful. And I'm hoping we all can be there one day. I don't know if others, and I don't really need to know, but I don't know if others out there in the world really understand the impact it would be for this world in a healthy, glorious, beautiful way if we did live authentically, if we laid down every single mask, if we laid down every single mask. I remember in college, I wrote a huge paper, and it was philosophy. It was a philosophy class, and that was the topic I chose: the masks that people wear. Um, if we were able to lay that down and feel comfortable in our own skin and present our authentic self to others, whatever it may be, whatever that is, whoever that is, however that is. If we were able to do that as an individual, then when we're in communication with others, we would experience a whole lot more respect. We would experience life on life's terms in the way of it is. We would be able to live without disappointment and expectations and all this stuff because that's associated with the masks. It is. It's associated with the masks. It's associated in the 3D world of judgment. So if we truly lived our authentic self, well, A, we would be able to walk through life with confidence, courage, compassion, all sorts of great things. And then others would witness that. And just by them witnessing that, so I want to ask you all this. When you witness something, when it's demonstrated in front of you, are you aware that your brain says, wow, that can be done? It can be done. Because that's what our brains will say. Wow, somebody did it. It can be done. So imagine if now you're witnessing that person who's living their most authentic self with memory intact of who they are and living that way as a presence here in 3, 5. Wouldn't that then maybe give us who are witnessing that person some kind of ambition, permission, inspiration to maybe do the same? So now imagine if you got the one person, then maybe a few people witnessed that one person and they had the willingness and courage to maybe live authentically themselves and they start doing it and they love it and they accept themselves fully and they know who they are and they remember who they are. And so they're now doing it. And then more people witness them doing it. And then more people and more people and more people. Wow. A land full of laying down the judgment, a land full of laying down the expectations, a land full of laying down all the masks with full acceptance of who each individual person is, full acceptance of their entirety, of their full presence in a body of form. Could you imagine? Could you imagine that? So I just took you from please live authentically, right? Be who you are, into the whole world changing. And that's what I was trying to say, that I don't know if people really understand, because the term, live your authentic self is used quite often, right? It's used quite often. I don't know if people really understand the impact if we actually integrated that in through full acceptance of who we are as we remember through the experiences we have who we are. Is Chloe here? Chloe's here. Hey girl. Good to see you, my dear. Chloe, if you got any questions, can you put them in bold print for me? Because I don't know. I have no topics to discuss, but yet I guess I keep talking. Isn't that how it goes? And good to see you, my dear. Hey, Chloe, I have a question. Were you notified? Because I think Lori saw this probably on social media. Were you notified that this was on? Because I'm thinking my bell. Everybody's got to ring my bell again. I often have to ask people to ring my bell. Why not? We should all be ringing each other's bells, right? Yes, ma'am, you were notified. Okay, thank you. Thank you, dear. If you have any questions, ask them anything about anything. Anything about anything. I really actually do. This weekend is a beautiful, huge symbolic weekend starting from, tomorrow, Friday into Sunday. The symbolism, I should cover that at some point. Just those, that few days. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. And all of the symbolism, all of the teaching in it is so profound if you strip it away from the dogma and the rules and the hierarchy of things. I got a card that I think that's mine. The card that says vacation, I think that's mine. Maybe y'all should take a vacation too. I should really cover that, beloveds. I really should. Because it's absolutely, it's a wonderful story. Wonderful story. The problem is the story then was able to be used as a tool that is not necessarily good. Ring-a-ling-a-ling. Thank you. Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Let's pick a card out of, this is the Mystical Wisdom. I think you guys have seen this before, the Mystical Wisdom card deck. And the pictures in this are nice. So far we got from the Healing Spirits Oracle deck that I saw was still in my box from the last time I saw Mary Jo. We got the Success Isn't What You Have, It Is What You Do With What You Have. I love that card. That's wonderful. We got Ask Your Spirit Guides. Interesting artwork. I get it. It's interesting. Then we got number 14, Communication. Communication, Sacred Geometry. If I bring it in close, that light is now reflecting off of it. And now we are going to pick another. So let's pick another for whenever people have eyes to see and ears to hear. I was telling the patrons on Sunday, so the past few years I have been really focusing and honing in on, those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. Because it was said to me a long time ago to focus on that, but then I took like 3 years to get to it, which is human nature, right? It's what we do. And then I took about 3 years to really focus on it, what that really truly means. But now moving forward, with all of my, let's say New Year's resolutions, for me, they were symbols of Yule and the light is always present manifestations, my goals for 2026. With those in mind, I do believe I'm moving more into, and I fully accept that I'm moving more into really wrapping my head around I may be in this world, but I'm not of this world. And what that really means in terms of 7th-dimensional consciousness, walking around 3 and 5. I mean, what does that really mean? What does that really look like? How does that feel? How do you, the whole experience? And we've all heard that, but it's usually not taught in relation to obtaining and living a 7th-dimensional consciousness in a body of form, walking amongst 3 and 5D experiences. But it is what that is. I may be in this world, but I'm not of this world. So what does that mean in relation, in communication, in all the above, right? So yeah, that's where I'm headed. And of course, the patrons understand a bit more of that. So let's pick a card. Let's pick a card. What do people need whenever they see and hear? Up here somewhere? Okay. Oh, I think it wants me to do 2. We're going to do 2. Sure. Why not? And I think Seeker came in. Good to see you, my dear. Oh, muy bien. Okay. Well, we got 2. Both of them Well, the two really go together. I'll pull up the first one. It's Battle of the Blues. Take steps toward positive change. So, beloveds, if you have been feeling this, and it's kind of easy to, isn't it? It's kind of easy to feel this right now for many. Battle of the Blues. Take steps towards positive change. And folks, those steps, communication, communication, self to self, self to others, self to the divine. All things through communication. But then another card came up. So if we're battling the blues, which many are trying to come to a level of acceptance, which is good. Which is good. The level, it's like, because everything is, when I say level, I'm kind of using that nonchalantly, just in generalized speech, as in everything is kind of accelerating. Everything is expanding at the same time. Everything's also disintegrating at the same time and dissolving back into itself, right? We're in such a flux right now that I have witnessed and spoken with, and it's been an honor to see. Many people are hitting a heightened level of acceptance that they might have not have been able to hit before. And that level of acceptance, as we know from the levels of consciousness chart by David Hawkins, that level of acceptance is definitely needed. And your acceptance is always going to be somewhat challenged at different times, even with different viewpoints, right? And what I mean by you viewing yourself, what you think you healed, you might not have healed. What you think you might not know anything. What you think this, when you think that, like that's beautiful. That's how it should be. And right now, because of the heightened cause and effect of this world, many people are hitting a level of acceptance that I have not witnessed. I don't know. It's beautiful. I have not witnessed this, I don't think, ever. And because in that acceptance is a whole lot of letting go. I forgive myself. I forgive others. I forgive. I trust. I trust. I trust. In that level of acceptance, it requires trust. Because what else option do you have? So that's what I'm referencing. It's not just, oh, I have accepted life on life's terms. I've accepted it is. I've accepted things horrible happen. I've accepted this. No, it's a level of sincere trust is involved, and therefore being able to lay down a lot of the judgments. And I've been witnessing it, and that's wonderful. But it's usually because of, something like this, the Battle of the Blues. So that's great. That's great. And another card came out. Choices. Make the best choices. Oh, wow, that's very bright. Make the best choices. That's a lovely card. Make the best choices. When I was younger, I don't know, probably 18 years ago, trying to do the math, trying to think of how old I am, what have you. Um, Probably about 18 years ago or so, I had lost my job. Not because of anything I did, not because of, it was just funding. I was funding. And, but going through that for the first time, it kind of sunk me. It really sunk me. And I had a mentor at the time that kept just saying, just make a choice. Just make a choice. And I was stuck. I I didn't it's as if I didn't trust anything. It was just a weird time period. Um, I felt like I couldn't trust my own choices. I couldn't trust if something like that was gonna happen again. It was just a weird as many go through when they lose, they lose a job, especially the first time. The uh, you kinda get used to it afterwards, you know? Um, but she just kept saying, "Just make a choice and take the action steps of that choice, and if it doesn't work out, then you make another choice." And for some reason, she had to say that to me, I wanna say, a handful of times before I actually took that advice. I had to have full discussions with her of like, "No, no, no. What if I make the wrong choice and this happens again? What if I make the wrong choice and I hate the position? What if I make the wrong choice and, all sorts of stuff, right?" And it took her mentoring me and explaining to me that life doesn't even operate that way. That there's going to be ups, downs, pitfalls, things move here, kind of like when we started this, all the bubbles bouncing around. There's going to be stuff that goes on, so you have to make a choice each time. And if it's something that doesn't work out for you, if it's something that okay, you figured out you don't like, if it's something that doesn't in today's world we say resonate with, then you just make another choice and you go forth. So when we get cards that say like make the best choice, a lot of times people can get paralyzed with that. What is the best? Because man, as Carl Jung would say, we're only making choices based on the options that are presented. So what is the best choice? I do want to say again, if you're new here to Stars of Morning Light, I always I I pretty much subscribe to everything that Carl Jung has ever said other than that. Other than that, but that's because I trust and I know that creating something completely new is possible. It's possible. How do you think we got here? If this place wasn't created first, completely new, um well, then how do you think it's possible? It's out there. So I do understand though, as the world turns in 3 and 5, that the majority are making decisions based on, the options that are being presented. So I'm not ignorant to that. I just want to say that if we are creation, we can create and do whatever we want, right? We can create something completely new. The issue with that is the imagining something new, something that we haven't seen. I mean, our imagination usually runs on elements of life that we've experienced, past, present, and future, what have you. It's it's hard for our imagination to create something completely new that does not have, you know, key components to all the stuff that's out there. So that's where you got to kind of also agree with Young in that term as well. So I think Seeker came in and Centurion Sun. Wow, good to see you. Um, so if you do have any questions, because it's 9:20, if there is one question anybody wants to put in before we end this, I will. I do believe the collective is creating a lot of this reality. Yes, yes. But I also believe that the collective is attached to other things, that there is no separation. So I think there's more than just collective involved. But I would love if more individuals really, I don't know, really, I wanted to say accepted there, but maybe it's hard to accept something if you haven't experienced it. So I would love maybe more individuals to be just open-minded to the idea that they are manifesting all the time. And then maybe try to be more of an observer in living life, making a choice, seeing how that plays out and going, "Oh, that's how you manifest. Oh, I've been saying the same thing for the past 5 weeks. Now here it is. Unfortunately, the majority are doing that in the ways that we don't receive, right? If you keep saying I'm going to lose a bunch of money, I'm going to lose a bunch of money, or he's going to break up with me, he's going to break up with me, nobody loves me. Well, as we already said, communication is what builds, grows, heals, manifests all of the system of operation, internally, externally, everything is based on communication. So if we can maybe start just saying different stuff, I would love for us to just start there. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. Yes, we do tend to see what we want to see. Yes, I agree with that. I fully agree with that, Centurion. Yeah, that's what I was just kind of talking about. It's interesting because I think I've been witnessing, and I'm not, don't, this is maybe not like a permanent thing. It might just be the past few days or few weeks, I should say. I am witnessing and noticing because I try to notice what I'm noticing. Um, it's like what you just said. We tend to see what we want to see. I'm actually noticing a little bit of a shift in that, bringing people to that a bit higher acceptance level, as I just talked about. I don't know if it's going to last. I don't know. It might have been that March just kicked everybody's butt and we all just said, screw it, and laid everything down, which in its own right kind of gave us a better acceptance level. Um, because that is definitely the standard. We tend to see what we want to see. I definitely agree. Chloe, have you been doing positive talking the past few days or negative talking the past few days? It's wild how great affirmations actually work. Um, they're like the most perfect tricks. And what they really are doing is they're helping to rewire your mind to get back to believing, right? Knowing or trusting and knowing. Trusting, knowing, believing, accepting, all of it, that we are worthy. We are deserving. We are powerful. We are beautiful. We are happy. We are healthy. All of that. And when we can do that and we really trust it, we know it, we accept it, we integrate that into our being. Well, then, as Centurion Sun just said, we see things very differently. We see things very differently. Oh, I think that was for me as well. So if there is no questions left, it is about the top of the hour. I do have much more availability in April. I do apologize for not getting enough shows out to everybody in March. Like I said, with traveling and the dog being injured and so many moving parts, I just wasn't able to get to this. And so we will be getting back to Edgar Casey. We will be getting back to these live Ask Me Anything and some other little fun videos. I do think I'm going to do one on the Reiki precepts, just because why not? Everybody deserves to, experience a life of meditation. So I thank everybody for coming. Seeker, Chloe, Centurion, Lori. Big shout out to Lori at the top of the hour. So thanks for coming, everybody. And I'll see you later. Next time, maybe we'll have some great questions and dialogue back and forth. And if not, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please leave a comment below. Yeah, I just rambled. Hope you enjoyed. Next time, there'll be questions. I love you all. Peace. Oh, my goodness, maybe not. They're moving everything on my screen again. I go away for a month and everything's different. Yep. Love you guys.